Hey, what's happening, guys? So let's talk about this new science fiction thriller called Life. Now, the beginning of this review is going to be spoiler free, then after a grade and a warning we will get into some details, so let's dive into this thing.
This is the first capsule ever to come back from the planet.
We have visual confirmation.
I see it. This could be a major scientific breakthrough. Come on.
Life has a pretty solid cast, headlined by Jake Gyllenhaal, Rebecca Ferguson, Ryan Reynolds. It's directed by Daniel Espinosa, who worked on such films as Safe House and Child 44. The plot in this one is pretty simple. You have a small crew working aboard a space station who are working a mission to try and find life on Mars. They receive a pod from the planet and quickly begin getting to work, and it isn't long before they discover something very astonishing. They have found a life form, and when they continue to do their tests and their research, they realize that they're dealing with something far out of their control, something that soon threatens the life of everyone on the ship. Now, I will say right out of the gate, if you were going into this one expecting a science fiction movie along the lines of Arrival or The Martian, you will not be impressed. This was a simple horror thriller that used the science fiction genre as a setting, more than it really did for the substance. Therefore, if you want to see a movie more along the lines of, say, Alien or Event Horizon, then you will certainly get some enjoyment in this one. The cast performances were all solid, but the writing wasn't so much. The characters were thin and almost completely undeveloped, and it was clear the cast members made the most out of the roles they had to work with. You don't really know anything about these characters other than possibly one, maybe two traits that are conveyed through some quick dialogue. Each character gets a little splash of it, then we are right off into the story and the tension ramps up regardless of whether or not you actually care about the characters. So really, rather than being invested in the story, this one turns into watching to see if Reynolds, Gyllenhaal, and Ferguson will make it out of space, not really Miranda, David, or Rory, the characters they're playing. Now, this wasn't a deal breaker by any means. It was a fun movie to sit through. It ramps up the tension very well. Director Daniel Espinosa did a fantastic job of utilizing the confined areas of the space station with some excellent camera work. It was also a visually polished movie that did create some suspense and uneasiness as the creature roams this ship. I also thought the CGI and the special effects were very well done. They gave this creature a unique, unassuming look, and it fit perfectly with the story without ever really feeling like it was going overboard at all. So for the genre of science fiction horror, a genre that's already loaded with cliches, this was an entertaining, albeit somewhat forgettable movie. If you have seen these types of movies, whether it's being set in space or at deep sea where characters are fighting for their lives in a confined space, then you will find this one extremely predictable. But if you haven't seen many of those movies, then you'll get much more out of it. But regardless, it was a simple, entertaining, paint-by-numbers science fiction horror thriller that was definitely boosted by its cast. It doesn't try to stretch things out too long, and I'm going to give Life a B-. This one certainly had its moments, and it's worth checking out, but maybe kick back at home on the couch. Okay, so now let's get into some spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie yet and you do not want anything ruined, you may want to check out now. So one of the problems I had with this movie was something that should have been a no-brainer, and that was the cast. Now, I have liked Ryan Reynolds since the Van Wilder days, and while I think he does have some range people do not really give him credit for, I don't think anybody can really defend him as a strong character actor. But with Jake Gyllenhaal, you absolutely can. He is one of my favorite actors, and with his name attached to this movie, it instantly added some expectations to it. I was really curious to see what chemistry he and Reynolds, as well as Ferguson, could all create with this film, and from that aspect, it was a complete dud. Killing off Ryan Reynolds in the first act just felt like a lame move to me, because while it actually, I guess, did give that moment of, oh no, they killed off a main character real soon, shock value, I guess, it just didn't land because it's been done before, and the result to me was something that felt more like they were just using his name to further promote this movie when really he was just a glorified cameo. To me, it says the filmmakers knew this story was lacking some originality and they were banking on some star power to put some butts in seats, which yeah, it's done all the time, but in this one it just felt like a cheap move when a little bit more of Ryan Reynolds could have really brought some added substance and character dynamics to the story. The dialogue was also very exposition heavy at times, and some of the character decisions were, they just felt out of place given we knew little about them. So the dynamics we get, like Reynolds' character basically ending his life by busting in to help Ariyon, Bakare's character in the lab, kind of come off as generic and lacking in emotional motivation. But hey, what can you do? It was still an entertaining movie to watch. It's just that with the direction this story takes, down to the predictable plot twist with the wrong pod landing and the creature getting to Earth, resulted in a decent ending, but had the script woven a little bit more substance in the dialogue as well as the character development, and maybe tried a little bit more misdirection, this could have been a much much better movie. And that's my review of Life, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you went to see this movie this weekend. Let me know what you thought of it. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss a new review. As always, I'm Anthony. This is the Silver Screen Analysis, and I'll see you at the movies.